We begin with the race for the White House, now approaching the final straight and also minus one candidate. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has suspended his independent presidential bid and says he's endorsing Donald Trump. Kennedy has accused the Democrats of refusing to allow his name to be on the party's ticket in primary ballots. He also cited free speech, the war in Ukraine, and what he called the war on children as reasons for suspending his campaign. Kennedy said that he decided to support Trump after several recent meetings with the Republican candidate. Well, for more now, I'm joined by Vera Bergengruen. She is the senior correspondent for Time Magazine. She has been covering Robert F. Kennedy Jr. extensively. Vera, it's good to have you with us. What do you make of the timing of RFK Jr.'s announcement to suspend his campaign?
Yeah, I think there were several factors. I think they were clearly running out of money. That was something that we knew for a while. I think also it looked like a lot of these ballots were going to be printed in swing states. So in Arizona, which is a big swing state, today at 6 a.m., they were going to start printing a ballot with Kennedy's name on it. So if he wanted to be off it, if he really wanted to put his support between one of the two candidates, this was the only time he could really do it. And, I think he clearly saw no path forward, even though that had been the case for months. I've spoken to people in the campaign who told me that for more than a year, they have been weighing possibly endorsing Donald Trump. So I think from what I hear, he's just a very indecisive person and clearly partly enjoyed being on the campaign trail and getting to be the main candidate. So but really kind of came to the end there.
Yeah, and before we speak about his endorsement of Donald Trump, I want to talk about how RFK Jr. tried to talk to Kamala Harris for a potential cabinet job in her administration. I mean, what can you tell us about that? And what do you make of the fact that it looks like he's tried to play both political parties here?
I think he's done that from the very start. He obviously started as a Democratic candidate, and he took great pride. I mean, I interviewed him several times, and he took great pride in saying that he spoke to both sides and that he, was always willing to talk to the extremes of both parties. But, obviously the Harris campaign saw absolutely nothing to gain from speaking with him because they actually did not want his endorsement. He's an anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist. He doesn't really align with most of their positions. So, even if they could get a little bit of a bump in the polls in some ways, it didn't seem worth it to the Harris campaign.
So let me ask you this, since you've been following his campaign from the beginning, where do you think the voters will go who would have voted for Robert Kennedy Jr.? Will it be split or will they all go to Trump now?
It's really hard to tell because he never had a coherent voter base. There was never really an RFK Jr. voter. And so, many of them actually really supported him because what they wanted was a third option, an independent party. And a lot of those people are very, very upset right now. And they don't, they never intended to go either way. Many others, kind of liked him because he was a Kennedy. He was, the old school Democrat. So a lot of them are also from his days as an environmental activist. They are very far to the left. Then they are the people who really liked his anti-vaccine theories and the fact that he opposed the COVID-19 lockdowns, and they're very far to the right. So it's really hard to tell how many of those people he will be able to bring over to Trump, given that from the start, none of them really seem to have a coherent ideology. And many of them really weren't there for RFK Jr., but they were there to be part of a third-party run.
I see. Vera Bergengruen, the senior correspondent for Time Magazine. Vera, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us tonight on this developing story. Thank you.